when I talk about sort of angels on my shoulder, my second shoulder, I had another angel, who slowly became an angel on my shoulder, which is one of my good friends, Max Martin, who's probably the greatest pop producer.
I think after, Paul McCartney, John Lennon, and Max Martin are
the biggest songwriters.
The biggest songwriters ever in the history of music.
And he just tied John Lennon with the most number ones. He's tied at number 2 with John Lennon for the most number 1 songs in America ever. In my Sweden days, obviously he was an icon. And eventually I worked my way up through the Swedish scene, and he would call me in, once in a while to help write, to help with some songs and sometimes with lyrics, because I was American, and kind of took me under his wing for the most part. And I would always come to him more just like I had access to this great gift of a talent and good guy. And he was always willing to help, listen to things and maybe you should change this. And he's a really good gift of knowing what to fix on a song, And I learned a lot through those years. And when I got to America, he wanted to start a camp, because he always came from sort of a camp culture of just a group of writers and producers in the same house, and we all collaborate and help with each other. He said, will you be a part of this thing with me? And that became the new phase of my career. Luckily it was in LA, 5-minute drive from my house. When One Direction sort of finished for me, like when they wanted to sort of grow from me, which at the time was hard because I was like, oh no, what are you doing? We were, but they wanted their own voice and they didn't want me to be their voice, which is understandable with artists eventually. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, gosh, I lost this. I was really sad. I was like, I'm not working with this band with like my little brothers anymore. And I was looking for artists. I was in a bad writer's block and I was looking to see what to do next. Because everyone, after One Direction, everyone was throwing all their problem artists at me. That, we can't sort this out. Or this person
became the rainmaker.
Yeah, you become, which was a great position to be in. But I had such bad writer's block for like 6 months. I didn't know. I was like, I just couldn't write anything good, And then the guys I wrote What Makes You Beautiful, they were in LA and they called me and they said, hey, we're working with David Guetta. Why don't you come in and help us write something? And in that session, they were playing like a chord progression, and I went behind the mic and the song One Last Time came out. And a few months after that, David didn't feel it was right for his album. So it was just like the song. I was like, but this is such a great song. What do we do with it? And an A&R person at Republic Records in America named Wendy Goldstein came over to my house for a meeting. I was actually introducing her to a new writer, producer that I met, that I was signing.
For people who don't know, Republic Records is the most successful music label in the world right now.
Absolutely.
And Wendy, who was an A&R executive at that time, she is currently the number 2 in Republic Records.
She's president, She's amazing, a great person, and again, another person that helped change my life. This meeting changed my life. She goes, I was there, I was like, look, and a bunch of Swedes are coming as well. We're, with Max Martin. She's like, well, I've got this project, Ariana Grande. Do you know her? I was like, yeah, I know who she is, because I was friends with people that were on her show. So on the show that she was on, Victorious, I was friends with Victoria Justice and Avin Yogi, a Gujarati guy. And so I knew of Ariana. I knew she just had a sort of a hit, and they were trying to figure out what to do next. And I was like, well, that sounds like something I would do. I should meet her. So we meet in a studio, me, her, and Wendy, and I play her One Last Time, and she loves it. She's like, this is it. And I had the idea of what became the song Problem. I had Problem in my head. Like, I knew like theoretically what it was. I got one less problem with that. I had that, and I had some of the verse melody, and I knew how it should sound. And I told her about it. And she was like, yeah, I love that. I love that idea. And so we booked 2 weeks. Some of the guys from Sweden came, and I told everyone what we need to do. And that album exploded. And a whole new phase of my career took off. And from Ariana, it attracted The Weeknd, which attracted like Ellie Goulding. And then we had hits with Demi Lovato again. There was just like, it was an amazing time, but it was also a time where I was working nonstop, and not having time for the kids, always on the phone. And it was such a blessing though, because the universe, God, none of creativity is, I always say it's like ideas are here. They all float around us. And if you can be a vessel for an idea, what a blessing that is, right? But it's not yours. It's something that's given to you. And during that period of time, God, the universe, was giving them to me. Some of the biggest songs of my career, just in the middle of the night, boop, in my head. And I would wake up and I would have the melody and a chorus in my head. Or I'd be in the shower and then Santa Tell Me, this big Christmas song that we have, pops in my head.
Like a divine energy which just...
Yeah, and I don't know what was going on with me in the universe, but I was being blessed with all these. I was fully aware it wasn't me. I was fully aware they're not mine, that it's being given to me. And there was a period of 8 years where it was every few days, it was boop, 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 boop. And I had amazing collaborators, and I had Max and, people like Ilya, who is one of my main collaborators, just, elevating every idea I had and helping shape it and make it great. Or one of them would have an idea and I had, a way to make it great. And that's what we did. We were a collective of people that just fed off of each other. And it was an amazing time,